Is all denim created equal? I don't know. Let's find out. What's happening, you guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Style Sessions, a podcast dedicated to helping you understand menswear history, production, and style icons so that you can better develop your own personal and individual style. My name is Aaron Selberg. With me, as always, is Jeremy Reed.
How are you, sir?
Good.
Great. Hey, I love the new intro for season 2. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, we upgraded a few things. You did a great job. I love it. I think it's great. You know, and really excited about our topic. This week, this segment here about denim.
Yeah.
It's funny because we work in and we own a men's clothing store, and the reason before that was because I needed a place to shop for dress clothes and stuff.
Right.
And now one of my major dress things is a nice pair of denim pants.
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy because like denim has become such a staple in everybody's everyday wear. So much so that it has bled into what we classify as like business casual, which we've talked about before. It's not really business casual. It's not. Let's be honest, right?
No, it is clearly not. It is honestly one of the very few times in the paradigm of shift or of clothes outfits where people go, you know, this is business. It's one of the very black and white things that denim is not business casual.
Right.
It will always be something casual. Like it is not business casual. However,
you can have dressy denim.
Right.
You know, you can have a dark wash like we have on today. We've got some dark wash denim on. It's dressed up a little bit. We've got some nice shoes with it. You know what I mean? So
the reality of it is you know, people started having that denim Friday, pay $5 to a charity or something.
Right.
And then people are like, oh, this is business casual. I'm sorry, folks. It is still not business casual. I love denim. I wear denim a lot.
Yeah.
It's not business though.
Funnily enough, I actually didn't wear denim for like 20 years.
Which is funny, I know, and it was really the introduction of me that got you back into it.
Yeah, I had like one pair of jeans that I wore for for like 20 years. I had one pair of jeans. I never wore them.
Sure.
Ever, because I was wearing suits every day. Every single day I wore a suit. So, you know, it was working here and working with you and being like, oh, I don't have to wear a suit every day. This is kind of cool. And then I started like experimenting with denim and stuff like that. And now I'm like, that's mostly what I wear, honestly.
And I think it's an evolution. I mean, some of our cultures deemed it more appropriate and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at my clock there because, as I said, we're going to try to keep it on schedule. But yeah, the evolution of denim is interesting, which brings me to my first question. Let's take it back and figure out a little bit of history about denim. Like, how did denim even come to exist?
I have notes.
You have notes?
I do.
That's my boy.
So, denim actually started, strangely enough, it really started in France. Okay. Which most people are like, what? Denim is like such a, like, denim and blue jeans feels like such an American like thing, you know what I mean? And that we'll get into that here in a little bit. But there's a company called APC.
Okay.
They're in France and they make some of the best denim ever.
Right.
They're expensive as shit.
And
like $300 for a pair. I'm like, whoa.
And that's like, that's just their base price.
Right.
You know.
So I'm not really gonna try and I pardon my French honestly because I don't speak French.
Sure,
but,
no,
you know, pardon me.
We could have got one of our French people.
A French translator.
Yeah.
So in Nimes, France, is where they think denim was really.
That's the
developed.
best place they feel like they have it tracked down to.
You know, it was again, it was one of those things like with everything in our realm of clothing.
Yep.
Developed as like a utilitarian thing, right? Always.
Not surprising,
Always.
right? I'm not surprised at all about that.
So the one thing I was really intrigued about was the color, right? So we don't call denim is not called. It's not like this is the color. It's the wash, right?
Sure.
But the color is most of the time it's indigo.
Right, indigo dye.
Right, it's indigo. And depending on where you're getting it from, like what company you're getting it from, some companies use a natural dye, which comes from the. Hold on, let me check my notes here.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember how to pronounce this.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy plant, is it not?
Yes, it's a flower in India. It's like the indigo plant.
It's like the plant that Bruce Wayne has to climb up the mountain to eat.
Yeah, it is. It's a blue flower.
It's essentially that.
And that's where the dye comes from. Yeah. And it's from India, which is interestingly enough.
And as I said, I want to guide us on this little thing here. And I want to take it back to like the most basic thing because we have listeners from all ranges. So let's talk about the actual material. So we say denim, but what is denim actually made of?
It's actually cotton twill.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you actually look at it, it's got like that twill to it, and that's kind of realistically what it is. It's a cotton.
Yep.
It's a heavyweight cotton. It's got a twill to it. Nowadays, they've changed it up a little bit. It's almost got like a some of it's got like some different kind of threads going through it and stuff like that. So it gives us a bit of a different texture.
And again, and pardon my my questions, this may seem ignorant to some folks, and they may be remedial, however. So when we say cotton twill, obviously cotton is a product. We're familiar with cotton and how cotton exists. It's a fuzzy little thing, whatever. Right. But then is the twill part, how is that the weave?
Yes.
That's the weave, right?
That's the weave, yeah. So if you you can see it.
Right, you can usually see it in your
post
pants,
pictures,
but you can usually see it in your own. You're going to see that it's woven together.
Yeah. If you flip them inside out, and the inside is like mine, where it's lighter on one side, darker on the outside, you can see the two different variations of thread and yarn going through, and it creates like a diagonal line.
Yep,
that's the twill. That is a twill. That's
what a twill is, and so we see that sometimes because I think it's easy to get caught up in all these terms and then not really know is twill a fabric, is twill a weave, is what it is. So it is a cotton twill. Obviously, it's heavy weight in most cases.
It's heavier than like a chino twill would be.
Right. And also to that as well, up until recent years, it was usually just exclusively cotton, and then it was a dyed cotton.
Right.
As you kind of alluded to, we've gotten into a new era, and we'll get to this at some point, but there's other products we've introduced into it. Yeah. Spandex, elastic, different things to add stretch, which we're all loving.
We're all
loving it, by the way. We're loving it.
It's either stretch denim or sweatpants. I mean, what are we going to do?
Yeah, right. So, of course, now we got a cotton twill.
Yes.
We got this cool flower from India. Mm-hmm. We figured out how to make this cotton not the dingy color or white, because it's not really white usually. It's usually like a brown color. Natural cotton is like naturally brown or whatever. Right. So we figured out a way to make it look different than that.
Right.
And then we started constructing it into pantalones.
Yes. In 1865, a German chemist actually synthesized the natural indigo, and that's where the dye kind of was really founded.
Right, and then it became, much more easy.
Right. So history-wise, what we classify as denim or blue jeans or, whatever, it actually started, with Levi Strauss.
Yeah. So Levi, we all are comfortable with the 501 Levi's, right?
Right. Levi actually was the first manufacturer of denim to kind of create. They created the 5-pocket with the rivets and all that stuff.
Right.
I was in in the 1850s. Interestingly enough.
Which is the fun thing about it. I mean, it doesn't take long. 1850 was really kind of the kickoff. Yeah. So again, it was funny. I just listened to a podcast yesterday or the day before about things about this. So the denim pants, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know we have notes here, but I actually just heard this in another podcast that coincided perfectly with this. So the reason why denim and then Levi Strauss, which it wasn't his own company, it was a combination company, but happened was because of the gold rush in California in 1849, where you had these men doing hard labor work, trying to find a trouser that they could wear, but they could they would hold up to the digging and the mining. I mean, this is crappy hard work. I mean, this is 1800, so we didn't have equipment. You know, this was pickaxes and shovels and whatever, right? Like, I mean, you're not out there. It
sounds horrible. Well, God, it sounds awful. I know.
I don't want to do it either.
Good.
There's a million ways to die in the West, and that was number one probably. But no, I mean, it was a utilitarian aspect. So denim started in France probably simply because they needed, trousers or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reason it really exploded was it was an ancillary business to the gold rush.
Right. Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, the reason why the Levi Strauss company took off so well was it was his partner or something came up with the metal rivet, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't remember that fella's name. He obviously Levi Strauss was the cat that got.
Well, I think it was Strauss actually who came up with the rivet.
Oh, the other guy was making the pant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so in 1853, the gold rush and everything like that. And they moved from Germany to the U.S. and then later in the 1850s, moved back to New York.
Sure.
And then it was 1870 is when they patented everything, like patented the rivets and stuff like that. So you could not make a pair of denim with the rivets in it,
right?
Until like 1890.
And let's be fair. The reason why the rivets were so imperative, it comes back to the hard work and the movement they were doing. So prior to the rivets, they were just sewn on and they were sewn buttons. Everything was sewn.
Right.
There wasn't metal rivets, including the button fly, because they didn't have zippers back then either. There was no zippers at this point in time. So the closures were always buttons or snaps or something of that nature, and a lot of that stuff was sewn on, and all the threads were sewn, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And that wear and tear, the threads would break. Yeah. The thread was the weakest point.
Yep.
So it would break and lose it. So the metal rivet, they figured out a way to put that into the pant, obviously made it more durable. That was literally the reason why Levi Strauss's pant worked, is because the metal rivet made the pant more durable.
They revolutionized what work pants were.
Right. They made a work pant that held up to work.
Right. So then, in the 1920s, sales were pretty much confined to working people of the Western United States, such as cowboys and lumberjacks and railroad workers and stuff like that, as you stated.
Right.
The dude ranch craze really became popular in the 1930s, so that's kind of when it really, really started to take off. And then I have way more notes here than I'm willing to.
Right, like if you want to know this,
I don't want to sit here and read the whole thing like, oh, this is exciting.
So here's the reality. Throughout all this research, and we have a spot on our website, obviously, thatguysecret.com, we'll have blogs where we'll actually have the notes and stuff. If you really want to dig into the history, we have a lot more. We're just kind of brushing over some highlights. If you want to dig into it, we've established a pages of notes on what we're talking about.
So 1940s, during the World War.
Yeah, started World War II.
World War II. American GIs brought their beloved denim pairs with them overseas, and I think that's kind of when when it started to really pick up overseas and stuff like that. That people were like, "Oh, those are cool, like,
right?"
Those are
and
nice.
It kind of goes back to the everybody thinks it's American, where it actually started in France, but then it went over here. The cowboys started wearing them. The workers, hardcore people working, and then obviously our military, our fantastic military. They were so accustomed to wearing because they were working class folks in most of those situations, went to fight this war, and they took their denim with them.
Yep. In the 1950s, though, that's when it kind of started to change a little bit.
Sure.
1950s is when it started to get a little bit more popular because of Marlon Brando.
I was going to say some movie stars and
James
stuff, right?
Dean.
Yep.
And they started showing up in movies, and they started showing up in like a little bit more in everyday life.
Yeah, and I'm excited about our icon when we get to our icons, because obviously James Dean's one of those guys that, to me, when you say denim, is like one of the first images that pops into my brain, and we'll dive into that more so.
He's the rebel without a cause.
Yeah, he has no cause.
In the 1960s, the hippie revolution kind of started to happen, right?
Sure.
And so that's when the denim started to become more of a statement of we're not gonna conform to your ideal of to your suits. I'm not gonna. You're the man. I'm not gonna wear your suits anymore.
That's where it was.
So they started wearing denim, and then as the time went on, it started to become wider, and bell bottoms became a big thing in the 1970s.
Yeah.
In the 1970s, it kind of really started just to become more of like a standard,
across all
fashion.
demographics, so to speak. Yeah, I mean,
people wore a lot of denim back then.
Yeah, it was widespread. And I'm curious, at that point in time, do you recall when the zipper was introduced?
I don't have that on here at all. I couldn't find anything about that.
I know it was years later, but the zipper finally gets introduced, and I read it in an article I was reading, and I can't remember what it was, but I was just curious. But I think by this time the zipper is introduced, obviously.
So in the 70s, they're pretty much everyone's wearing like flares and bell bottoms and all that stuff, except for my dad. My dad was the only guy in high school, straight leg stovepipe jeans. I remember my mom telling me, she's like, I don't even know where he got them.
How
everything was bell bottoms.
It's interesting, and obviously I'm 42 now, and so I've got to live through some different denim trends and styles and whatever, and you see some come and go, and vice versa. And I sometimes think the 70s, the bell bottom and that denim, it emulated the 90s a lot for me. The late 90s there was kind of like that same. I'd say late 90s. Late 90s was. I don't know the bell bottoms were as big, but they definitely had the flares back then, and which we're getting back into flares in the women's pants again right now. Which another thing, and I don't know how or why. Well, I actually have a pretty good idea why, but was the patchwork denim.
Oh yeah.
And that was a big 70s thing.
Yeah. I think that again that kind of comes with utilitarian. I got a hole in my jeans, and they're like, that looks cool. I'm going to do that.
And that's exactly what it came from. It was trying to continue the use out of these pants.
Yeah. I mean, so then the 80s.
Oh, the 80s.
Oh, the
we
80s.
Loved the 80s. Rock and roll bands.
80s was punk, grunge, rock. All that stuff was really big. 80s is kind of when they really started messing around with like the designer element of it, right?
Yeah,
the acid wash jeans became a big thing.
Oh my gosh, I remember as a kid growing up. I grew up, I was born in the 80s. So I just remember hearing that phrase, acid wash jeans. It was like if you were a hair band in the 1980s, the Poisons, the White Snakes, the Warrant, if you weren't wearing acid wash jeans, you probably weren't playing music.
Right.
Like, come on. And the denim jacket became a legit thing.
Yeah, the denim jacket was huge, which is now still like a really big staple. It's huge right now.
Yeah.
Denim skirts became a big thing, and ripped jeans started to make their way into the main sector of living.
Yeah.
Brands such as Calvin Klein and Armani launched designer jeans for the first time, ushering in the age of premium denim.
Which is the age we've all lived in. Most everybody listening to this podcast.
I hope so. Right? If there's any 16-year-olds listening to this podcast, I don't know.
16 or 60?
16.
Oh.
Yeah. 60-year-olds, yeah. All right. Yeah.
Well, no, I was just saying, but even now we're in premium denim life, right?
Yeah.
We're not, but I say that, we no longer, it's not your dad's denim.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But really, we've went away from the utilitarian aspect of denim in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
It's become style things, and premium denim is a big business.
It is. Yeah. So we kind of jump into the 90s, which is for me more so where that's my childhood. That's where I remember. I was born in 85, so 5 years old in 1990, and Usher and the Spice Girls and Destiny's Child and all that stuff wearing these gigantic.
Oh, the Janko?
Giant, huge. Well, not even the Jinkos. But the hip hop denim and stuff like that. Giant, baggy.
Huge.
Which, interestingly enough, if you watch the Super Bowl halftime show, giant baggy ass denim.
It's not
every dancer, Rihanna, all of them.
It
huge.
Was. That's definitely the era we're in right now. But I used to have remember the silver tabs?
Yes.
I used to have silver tab, wide leg silver tabs. And I get it. And we're gonna do it. I know we're gonna get back into it. It's just when it happens, right? Like,
yeah.
when does taper say no more? Now we go back to wide legs.
Right. The other thing that was big, as you mentioned earlier, was Jinkos.
Yeah.
Which my brother wore Jinko jeans all throughout middle school, beginning of high school for him. Like, oh my gosh, like the biggest pants you've ever seen. Like I wore a lot of hand-me-downs because
I get it.
I was the youngest.
I was a youngest boy, so me too.
So I remember him being like, "Here you go, these don't fit me anymore," and it was a pair of Jinkos.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, "What the?"
Like they never fit you, son. They never fit you.
Yeah, and so I remember like safety pinning the leg so they weren't so gigantic. And that has always been one of my biggest issues with jeans is I can't get them from the manufacturer slim enough. So I have all my denim tailored. I've tailored these pants so that because I want to be able to see my shoes. Like,
right. I mean,
and I don't want to trip and fall to my death. I don't.
Yeah, it's just not a look that I'm not really welcoming it back. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not welcoming it back. Like I lived through it once. I did it. Cool, great. Like you couldn't see my shoes; they were just underneath of it. The heel of my denim was always like at a U shape from where I walked on it.
You don't like your pants being soaking wet from the heel to the knee?
Walking in today, my legs would have been destroyed. It just, oh my God, I don't want to go back to that. Please don't make us.
So in the 2000s, they started DIY denim. Okay, so customized denim became a really big thing, and that's a big part of the millennial mindset.
Sure. We're amazing, aren't we?
I know, right? Ripped jeans, embroidered and pinned together, DIY denim. It's a big thing. In the 2000s, for my my generation in the 2000s, the very early to I would say 2000 and 2005, it was like the super low rise.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like, why was it so low?
I look back at some pictures of and men and women's pants.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
Yeah.
And like I look at some of the rise on these things. I mean, we're talking like 4 or 5 inches on. I mean, that's not covering up much, folks.
No.
You give me that now, I'm gonna be like, nah, man, I'm not wearing those. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't get it. And then the high rise started to kind of come into play a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Which I think is still kind of sticking around. I think people are still liking the high rise.
Well, and as I said, so we went to the ultra low there for a while. I mean, pardon the language, but they used to call it the whale tail or something. Like, oh my God. Yep. But they went really, I mean, to where your underpants were showing, right? Like they were fit and tight, but
and if you didn't want your underpants to show,
you didn't get to wear any.
Sorry.
You didn't get to wear them.
Yeah.
So then you fast forward, and then it got to, I'm not going to say it's a high rise, but more of a mid rise, like just hips, you know. Yeah. And now we're kind of in an era right now where, it's the mom jeans, the dad bods, the whatever, but it has, the rises went up there a little higher. It's not like it was in the 1950s or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but it's definitely higher. Maybe it
depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it could be. You love them up there.
I love a high rise jean, man. I'm wearing the ones I have on are high rise jeans,
and I don't mind a mid to high. I don't want a real high one, but like I definitely want it to where it covers. When I bend over and I don't feel like my pants are falling off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Jeremy doesn't want to show his whale tail.
Don't need to do it. But no, so yeah, I definitely see it happening. You know what I mean? So
the other thing too that happened in the 2000s was the ultra skinny jean, which so I just don't know if that's.
I mean.
I guess if you're a skinny dude,
I don't know. I mean, there was
skinny dude.
The punk bands and all of that stuff kind of made that famous, right? Like here's a question I'm curious if you lived in this era. So I lived through both, and I feel like I'm getting ready to live through both again. So I would say it probably would have been early 90s or something. You just had like a 2-inch cuff. You used to like do a 2-inch cuff, like nice, loose, straight leg 2-inch cuff. But then there was like, I don't know, probably 94 to 90.
Tight roll.
Tight roll denim. Did you ever do the tight roll?
Yeah.
Like, You have to fold it over, crease, and then
I saw Zach Morris do it, and I was like,
Saved by the Bell, right?
That's the coolest thing ever.
And and it was funny because it was like the predecessor to the MC Hammer pants, right?
Yeah.
Like it was big in the legs, and then it went down to your ankle. And I mean, if you didn't have a indentation and line where you had your pants tight rolled, you didn't do it tight enough. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know I lived through that era, and I mean, I thought I was the cat's pajamas.
Yeah.
Like it was, whew.
My sister will always help me. I'm like, sis, I want to tight roll my jeans. She's like, all right, I got you.
Yeah.
She helped me tight roll that jean, like tight.
Like, and you do the one, you're like, yeah, that's right. And then you do the other one. Like, you really got to force it in there. But then it'll, like, leave that spot in your ankle. But, I mean, it was a tapered ankle, right? It was a tapered ankle, which we live in now.
Yeah.
I'm not today. A lot of times I am doing a cuff. We're back to it's not the full, like I said, the 2-inch cuff. It used to literally, you'd get your pants 2 inches too long, which I do have a pair. I wear it. It's a pair of my cords. And you would roll it up 2 times to where it was a perfect cuff.
Yep.
It wasn't just the half roll. You kind of got the roll where it's just like the one roll up, But it was like where you rolled it one more time and it was all denim.
I have these I got 2 pairs of these that were like 34s, and normally I'm like a 30. Yeah. And so one is so I could put the 2-inch cuff in them. One is to dress them up and wear them with like a half cuff or whatever. But yeah, I'm a cuff dude. I cuff every. I see
cuffs coming back. I'm not sure if tight roll's coming back yet.
Every single pair of pants I wear is cuffed.
And as I said, to feed to our reasons, I almost think the tight roll was a utilitarian thing because people like me got tired of walking on their jeans that were too damn big.
Have you ever tight rolled Jinkos?
You got some Jinkos that be tight rolled. He takes 3 of your buddies to get them wrapped up,
Somebody's calling the store.
Oh, okay. Don't mind that.
I don't have the phone.
We're in the back. We're too far away.
So then 2010 region, the selvage denim became a big thing.
Yep.
Big thing. Selvage denim was huge. The 2010s, and it's still a big thing.
I think it's still a huge thing.
I think I think that the part of the reason that it stuck around for so long now is that because it's a really classic look. If you look at pictures of those guys in like the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even they've got those raw. That's what it was back then. Denim. It was a raw denim.
Right. It hadn't been processed heavily.
Exactly. They cut it out, sewed it together. There you go.
Here's your pants.
And then it came in one length, and they put the big 2-inch cuff on it, and that's what it was.
Yep.
And I love a raw denim. I think it's fantastic. And we carry it. We carry it in both stores. We carry the faux selvage.
Technically, it's a faux.
Yeah, faux selvage denim, and we say faux selvage because it looks like a selvage denim, but it's got some stretch to it.
It's got stretch, and it's also manufactured in a way that it's still friendly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is a big thing.
So, what do you think the future of denim holds?
I think it's going to be a huge. It's a staple already. A staple. What am I talking about? It's already huge, right?
Yes.
And I don't foresee it wavering. I don't foresee that going away. If anything, I see it happening more and more, becoming. We joked about it. I was going to hit this thing here so it doesn't make any noise. But we talked about it at the trade show we were recently at, like corduroys. Okay, and that's another example. We used to call it the Canadian tuxedo, where you wore the denim. And the reality of it is I mean, we saw some really cool pieces. Mm-hmm. We saw a denim dress shirt, like a legit. It wasn't a Western shirt, mind you. It wasn't Western yoke in the back and the snaps. We've all got those shirts, right? We all understand what that is. It was a dress shirt like you're wearing yourself today, just a normal dress shirt, but it was made of denim, and it was soft and flexible. You have that. I foresee, the leisure suit, if you will, coming back in a way, right?
Oh, no.
I mean, it's reality, right? We see smoking jackets coming back, and so I see denim being utilized in a lot of different ways. And I think we're going to continue to see it be up-leveled.
Yeah.
I think that's really the trend. I think we're going to keep trying to figure out ways to make it used in more business sections, and then I'm gonna have to eat my words that it ends up being a business piece.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's a nice double-breasted denim suit you have there.
Yeah, and I think it is something to do with the taboo-ness of like doing that, right?
Taking it such a casual fabric and making it dressy.
Where I do the opposite a lot of times. I'll take a really nice fabric and make it look casual. You know, I'll take a
those are some nice Italian woven dress pants you have there. Oh, they're 5 pockets.
Oh, these are 5 pockets. They feel like my jeans, you know? Right.
Yeah.
I do it. And so I get why we're doing it, but it's just pushing the envelope. So I think that's where it is. How about you?
I think we're going to see a lot more companies, and we already are, DL 1961 being one of them, being really environmentally conscious, because the reality of it is, and we'll talk about this in another episode.
Yeah.
The manufacturing process of denim is it's a lot. It's a lot on the environment.
A lot on the environment. A lot of water waste.
A lot of water waste. I mean,
and as you said, DL 1961 is a fantastic brand for not doing that. But the problem was the process for so long. Yeah. People have had to like reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And the strain that it puts on the environment is great, you know, and as I said, I think it'll continue to evolve.
I definitely think a lot more companies are going to be starting to sway that way, which I'm a fan of. And,
100%.
And I like that.
I'd rather the world not be gone.
Yeah, right.
I'd rather it stay.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we're going to see a lot more really, really cool stuff coming out of denim. I mean, the Glen, especially from DL 1961.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about that.
Can't wait for the Glen. So the reference joke there is, and this episode is coming to an end because of this. So the Glen is a model of a pant that has ankle openings. And I'll mind you, folks, ankle openings at 24 inches. My foot is 12. My foot is 12. The thigh opening on the pants I'm wearing today are 23 and a half. So you're telling me that it's going to be bigger than my thigh opening right now, and then it's going to go all the way down. Who needs that? Come on, guys.
Skaters, man, I'm telling you.
Nobody's skating.
Nobody's skating?
Not that way.
Not that way?
You ain't skating with those things. You're going to kill yourself.
ASAP Rocky's going to rock the hell out of those
You're going to kill yourself skating.
I'm telling you, right, Mr. Rihanna himself. He's going to wear them. I guarantee it.
I know. I'm going to I'm going to fight this till I can't fight it anymore.
I put a search thing on my notification thing on my Google. ASAP Rocky wide leg. That's what I put it on there. So as soon as it comes out, I'm sending it to you.
I can't
wait.
You're
going to be like, yay.
Awesome.
Let's carry them.
Yay.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for this newest episode of Style Sessions. If you like the episode, you like the content, make sure you give us a like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell some friends about us. Lie to people to get them to listen to us if you have to.
Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, whatever.
Send us some feedback, too.
Shoot us an email. It's peoria@thatguysecret.com. And we will look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode.